What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we got this highly anticipated welterweight unification on and looming in the welterweight division in the sport of boxing. With that said, I give you the two opponents. Obviously, unified welterweight superstar boxer Errol the True Spence Jr. holds the WBC and the IBF world titles. Then we have undefeated WBO welterweight superstar boxer Terence Bud Crawford, perceived as the pound-for-pound king in the sport of boxing. Since Andre SOG Ward, undefeated, retired 32-0, defeated the monster in Sergey Crusher Kovalev twice, stopped him the last time, and ultimately retired at the tender age. I believe Andre Ward was 32. I know his resume was 32-0. With that said, we seen Terence Crawford, Errol Spence have been going back and forth via social media. We've seen the fan bases going back and forth via social media. We see the promoters, the trainers go back and forth via social media, interviews, television, right? This fight is highly anticipated. This is probably one of the most highly anticipated fights outside of Wilder Joshua since Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, right? So with that said, I'm going to go and I'm going to do breakdowns every week, once a week until this fight starts, and discuss the advantages and disadvantages, the strengths and non-strengths, right? The strengths and weaknesses, should I say, of both gentlemen. And today we're going to talk about the chin. Who has the tougher chin? Is it Errol Spence? Is it Terence Crawford? Who has the more sturdy, durable, and trustworthy chin out of the two gentlemen? Well, we've seen Errol Spence Jr. in big fights now. He's faced the likes of Lamont Peterson. He's faced the likes of Mikey Garcia. He's faced the likes of two-time welterweight world champion, Showtime Sean Porter. Mikey Garcia was a 4-division world champion, superstar boxer in his own right. Lamont Peterson was a champion, defeated the likes of Amir King Khan. We've seen Errol Spence in there with guys like Chris Algieri, who box and use the ring, has a kickboxing background, nutritionist, high ring IQ, very good boxer, doesn't have too much power. We've seen Terence Crawford in there with Yuriorkis Gamboa early in his career, when Gamboa was still undefeated. Gamboa was still looked at, as explosive, with power, very fast, unorthodox, Cuban background, right? We've seen him in there with Victor Postol, who was perceived as the boogeyman in the division, in the junior welterweight division, 140 pounds. It was talked about and highly talked about and reported that unified junior welterweight world champion Danny Swift Garcia was avoiding Victor Postol, and that's why he was moving up to the full 147 pound welterweight division weight limit to avoid a clash with Victor Postol, right? And we seen Terence Crawford go over to the UK and snatch the titles from Ricky Burns in the UK in Ricky Burns' backyard. We seen Terence Bud Crawford, become undisputed at the junior welterweight division, beating Julius Ndongo, who Julius Ndongo was a very, very tall, wiry junior welterweight, right? He was perceived as a big junior welterweight. Hard hitter, right? So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Obviously, Errol Spence has fought the bigger guys in his career as he campaigned at a higher weight class for the majority of his career. Terence Crawford fought at 135, 140, now at 147. Errol Spence has always campaigned at 47. I believe he even had a fight at 54 at one point in time, if I'm not mistaken, right? And so he's fought the bigger guys. obviously, and the bigger guy is going to pack more of a punch. They're just going to pack more of a punch. The bigger you are, the harder you're going to hit, right? Now, there are some smaller guys that hit very, very hard. Let's not get that misconstrued, right? Julian Jackson wasn't a heavyweight, but he's one of the hardest punchers we've ever seen in the sport of boxing. So with that said, let's get right to it. We seen Errol Spence take big punches from Shawn Porter. We seen Errol Spence being there with a rough, rugged, tough, hard hitter in Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson is an absolute dog. We seen Errol Spence in the ring with a Mikey Garcia, who guys just refuse to engage with, like Adrian the Problem Broner and Robert Easter. And I know people gonna come and they're gonna say, well, they don't have the best chins in the world. Well, we only seen Adrian Broner rocked and stagnant in one fight, and that was against Marcos Maidana. But yet Adrian Broner refused to engage with Mikey Garcia. And I have to believe that was a testament to Mikey Garcia's power, right? Robert Easter is a dog. In his last fight with Adrian Granados, he was engaging all the time. But against Mikey Garcia, he was dropped in that fight, and he refused to continue to engage, right? We seen Mikey Garcia in there with Sergey Lipinets, right? Stop Sergey Lipinets, I believe. We seen Mikey Garcia in there with some absolute dogs, and Mikey Garcia has power. We seen Mikey Garcia in there with Errol Spence Jr., and Errol Spence Jr. decided to box Mikey Garcia. Errol Spence Jr. stated that the reason he chose to box Mikey Garcia was just to prove to the world that he could outbox a boxer. And I have to believe Mikey Garcia's power had to come into play. Now, I'm not saying Mikey Garcia is the hardest puncher in the world, but Mikey Garcia does pack a punch. Now, we seen Terence Crawford in there with a Yuriorkis Gamboa. I believe Yuriorkis Gamboa and Victor Postol were the most hard-hitting, explosive fighters that he's been in there with. Now, Victor Postol is not as explosive and athletic as a Yuriorkis Gamboa and some of the other guys, Shawn Porter, but Victor Postol was seen as a puncher, right? A boxer puncher. Put you in the mindset of a Sergey Crusher Kovalev in the lower weight divisions. And we know what Sergey Crusher Kovalev, that's his motto, Crusher, right? And so he had that style, you know, that Ukrainian punching, Russian style, right? So with that said, we've seen Terence Crawford hurt and rocked by Yuriorkis Gamboa. We've seen Terence Crawford hurt and rocked by Hank Lundy. We've seen Terence Crawford hurt and rocked numerous of times. Recently, against Kavaluskis, the Mean Machine. We've seen him hurt and even dropped in that fight. Now, it didn't count as a knockdown, but it was a knockdown. You know, you got most of the boxing pundits and analysts sitting ringside, and even his close friends like Andre Ward and Timothy Bradley, they're all in agreement that that was a knockdown. Now, it wasn't officially called and ruled a knockdown, but they're all in agreement that it was a knockdown, right? So we seen him hurt in that fight, at least twice in the Kavaluskis fight. In Errol Spence's career, early in his career, we seen Errol Spence rocked one time, and that was very, very early in his career. When in there was Showtime Shawn Porter, Errol Spence was hit with some big punches in that fight. Actually, I just rewatched that fight on Fox right now, maybe about 2 hours ago. 3 hours by the time you guys see this video. I just rewatched it last night, and I rewatched it this morning. And the punches that, and I'm not saying that Showtime Shawn Porter is the hardest puncher, but he's a bigger man. And when you're a bigger man, stronger man, you're going to pack a punch. So I have to believe that Showtime Shawn Porter hits harder than Yuriorkis Gamboa. I have to believe that Showtime Shawn Porter hits harder than Julius Indongo. I have to believe that Showtime Shawn Porter hits harder than Hank Lundy. I have to believe that Showtime Shawn Porter hits harder than Victor Postol. He's just a physically stronger guy. And he's more gifted, he's more athletic. Right? And Terence Crawford, I believe that Showtime Shawn Porter hits harder than Kavaluskis, the Mean Machine. If they don't hit harder, then he hits about the same. Right? And he's more explosive because he's more athletic. So I'm going to have to lean towards Errol Spence. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people upset. There's going to be a lot of people upset when I break this down in its entirety. Who has the better footwork? Who has the more speed? Who has the higher ring IQ? Who has more ability? Who's more agile? Who's more athletic? I'm going to break this down every single week. You guys are going to get one of these videos. But I'm going to have to award Errol the True Spence Jr. with the tougher chin. Because we've seen Errol Spence Jr. in there with Lamont Peterson. I have to believe Lamont Peterson is a harder puncher than Yoriokas Gamboa and Hammer and Hank Lundy. Now, I'm not saying Showtime, Show Important, and Lamont Peterson are these. They're not Deontay Wilder. They're not Julian Jackson. They're not Mike Tyson. I'm not mistaking them for them. I'm not even mistaking them for Marcos Maidana. But when you're comparing the guys on the resume that both guys have stepped in the square circle with against, Sean Porter and Lamont Peterson and Mikey Garcia are the harder punchers. I have to believe Mikey Garcia is a slightly harder puncher than Hammer and Hank Lundy. I have to believe that Mikey Garcia is a harder puncher than Yoriokas Gamboa. Now, he's not as explosive as Yoriokas Gamboa. Yoriokas Gamboa is athletic. He was explosive. He was very, very quick. So sometimes they say the punches, and he was unorthodox. So the punches that hurt you the most are the punches that you don't see coming, right? And so I'm going to give that to Yoriokas Gamboa. But accuracy, precision, IQ, knowing when to punch. That's what you have to give Mikey Garcia. Now, Mikey Garcia never fought Yoriokas Gamboa, but I believe if they did fight, Mikey Garcia would have knocked Yoriokas Gamboa out. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Errol the True Spence Jr. Some of the punches that he took from Showtime Sean Porter may have wobbled a lot of guys. And again, I'm going to reiterate this, and I can't, highlight this point enough. I'm not saying that Sean Porter is the biggest puncher in the world, but he's explosive. And so what I have to say is that Sean Porter is a bigger version of Yoriokas Gamboa. Athletic, unorthodox, explosive. Right? They look like they should be competing in the other sport. And this is what you get from Sean Porter. And he throws punches in bunches. He just never stops. So even in the 12th round, when Errol Spence Jr. looked to be starting to fatigue, he was able to eat Sean Porter's punches. Yeah, it was a little bit of head bobbing and weaving, but there were no stinky leg. There were no noodle leg in any of Errol Spence's fights. So I'm going to have to give the edge to Errol the True Spence Jr. Edge and nod goes to Errol Spence Jr. when it comes to durability with the chin and durability and trustworthy of the chin. Because we've seen Terence Crawford hit the deck against Kavaluskas, right? Who's not explosive. And yeah, I know people are going to say, well, that was due to the fact that Terence Bud Crawford chose to be a dog and fight on the inside. Well, guess what? Errol Spence Jr. chose to be a dog and fight on the inside against Showtime Sean Porter as well. Right? He chose to give up his advantages was his reach and his height and his size against Sean Porter. And I know Sean Porter makes you fight that way. Kavaluskas didn't make Terence Crawford fight that way. He chose to fight that way. Either which way, they fought in the inside and the chins were tested and Errol Spence's chin passed the test. Now, Terence Crawford didn't get knocked out. He wasn't stopped. But he did have the noodle leg. He did hit the canvas. So I'm going to go chin advantage. Errol the True Spence Jr. And that's all I got for y'all. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.